All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Glad everybody can make it. I'm trying to use my standing desk today because I'm like I haven't stood enough, so that's why my view is a little different. But I think I'm good. So we are going to talk about today. Just how to set up your Easy Report system for the summer. So be mindful that you will they'll start giving you pop-ups, and I'll let you know in a couple of weeks the exact date that we'll switch to a new system, which means we'll switch to 25-26 Easy Report. So pretty much when you go up here and you see Alabama After School, it'll say 2025-26 versus 24-25. And the browser website will be or URL will be the same. It'll be Alabama 25-26. We thought, which I think Billy said at the beginning of the year, that they would merge all of the sites together and give us access that way, but that sounds like that has been pushed back a little bit. So as far as I know, we will be migrating to a new site hopefully late May, early June. They're saying early June, and I'm pushing for late May so that y'all can start your setup and get everything together before your summer starts because our summers, we know they go quickly and we are busy. So I'm going to kind of walk you through how to set up your summer and have a few notes so I can make sure that I hit all the points. And this will be on I'll send the link out on Friday, but it will not be openly posted on our YouTube page because this is going to contain Easy Report proprietary information. I will see if they will put it on their support website so that you have an easy access to it there. But either way, I will have the link and we'll send it out on Friday for the quickest access. And I'll probably do that for the next couple of weeks just to give y'all some reminders. And if you get to summer and you're like, hey, I don't remember anything that Erica said, send me an email or send one of the lenders an email and we will jump on not a YouTube, a Zoom call with you and we will help you walk through your setup so that we make sure that we start 25-26 on a good path. So this was your grantee side, and y'all can enter your names and sites or LEAs in the chat box so we can have kind of a recording of who came, just in case your names on your profiles are different than your names in real life. So if you're doing a setup, I'm going to start from the grantee home. So this is if you have access to the grantee side, so your program director. So for me, as a former program director, I would always go in and I would set up my dates for my sites because generally I wanted to make sure that those were all correct in the system before they started. So I would go to programs and then programs, and I would set my summer dates. So if I'm going in, I'm going to say that the Alabama test site, well, I'm going to give it dates. So we're going to start summer, and I have to give these last year's dates because I'm working in last year's system. But I'm going to set it for June 3rd to, let's say, July 12th. And then I'm going to add my school or my site, and I'm going to make sure that the schools that are attached to the site are still attached. I do have some sites that used to be another school and now they're another school, or they have more than one schools attached. So make sure that you're checking both schools and not just checking one because you might have some students that are linked to one school and some students that are linked to the other school, and you want to make sure that you capture both of those. So you need to make sure that you select both sites. So then we're going to go down here. We're going to save, and you can go ahead and set up your school year dates, which we already did that a little bit earlier. So I'm saying this is August 15th of 24. Remember, I'm working in the rear. And to May the 30th, and I made sure that my day schools were attached, all of them that were available. So I'm gonna click save for that. That's your first setup thing. So then I'm gonna go, and I like to work on this sidebar. You can customize your buttons or on the top main thing. I just don't. Probably because we had the sidebar on the in the original Easy Report when we first started using it, so I'm used to that. But you can add different things to this bar to customize it the way you would like it to be. So if you want to look for search students might be a good one. Then you would add that and you on the grantee side can go in and search for a student really quickly to see which site they're in. But that's up to you. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the side, I'm gonna go to the site. And for this test site, I only have one. So my test site, I'm the site director, and I currently have two students. So again, here's your dashboard. I like to look in the dashboard just to give me a quick synopsis of what I have going on. And it's a good way to go back and check at any point. Or somebody asks you, well, how many students have you served so far? You can go to your dashboard and it'll give you a summary of that without having to go into the report section. You can use the report section if you need to create a report, but just for a quick snapshot, it's in your dashboard. Participation, activities, staffing, and outcomes. Outcomes are generally in a rear. So we've already done the programs. You can do, and I'm showing you that you can do that from the site access also. So programs and programs. And then you can also put in your holidays. So let's say I'm a holiday that you're going to have during the summer. It's going to be Juneteenth. Last year, Juneteenth was on what date? I don't know. Let me see. The 19th. So we're going to put that in as we're closed on the 19th. And again, you can do this from the site side or the grantee side. You do it from the grantee side, then you have the choice of adding all of your sites at one time. So I suggest you do it on that side, but I wanted to make sure that you can see you can do it on both days. So if it's just a one day, you can start it and end it on the same day. It's going to tell you one, it's not an emergency closure, but this is where you would put if you have a weather day or something happens at the school where you have to close quickly, you can put that in the same spot as a holiday, but emergency closing. Let's see. Okay, so that's automatically going to block your calendar for that day. So we're going to go to, I like to go to registration because I just want to get to it and then we'll flip-flop. So most of the time when you get to summer, your registered students is going to be blank. So you're going to be trying to register students first, try to register students who are overlapping from after school in your program because they're already in the system. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to go to register, then register students. That's going to give me my returning students. And I'm going to say, oh, okay, I have 5 kids or whatever. So I'm going to click, you can either click register all, or you can go in and click that student. If you need to make updates, you can make updates there. And you're going to say that you want to re-register that student. So you're going to re-register the student as of the program start day, or if they start later, then you can enter a specific date. For right now, I'm going to say I'm going to start them on the program start day. So yes, register now. Could not register. Let's see what his error message is. Okay. Let's see. He was dropped as of today. Sorry, we have been playing with this test site with the Easy Report people. And that might not have worked like she said. But okay. You see the process. So we'll go with the kids that we have in the system because we do have two in there. So after you register your students, and then if you have new students that you need to add, then you're going to click Add Student and you'll register students going forward. If when you get to this point, it pops up and it says, oh, this student is already in the system, whatever, do not add a period, asterisk, or whatever to either their name or the state student ID to force them in the system. At that point, if they are not within your school system, then you can send me or the lenders an email with their name and their date of birth or their name and their state student ID number. and we can transfer them. We just need to know the name, the state student ID number, what day you want to transfer them, like what day did they start your program, and just make sure to tell us because if you serve multiple sites, tell us which site you want them to go to. But if you email us and give us that information, we normally will transfer them within a couple of hours for you so that you don't have to enter all their information and then create a duplicate. Because if you create a duplicate when we get to the Kepler measures time, then it becomes an issue because you have two students in there that are actually the same person. So please do not enter a star, an asterisk, or whatever. Don't force a child that where it says that they're already in the system. Just contact us and we will transfer them. But if they're within your system, you can transfer them or your program director can transfer them yourself. We're happy to do it. So the first thing, second thing, normally I go in order, but I'm flipping this time. Your activities, normally your activities for that you had in your previous one because we won't have new grantee. Well, y'all are cohort 16 and 17. So your activities that you already have in will stay the same. And by activities, I mean STEM. You will have to create new sessions. So your schedule, you will have to create a new session for the summer, but your main things, which we have told you before, to link to your objectives. So STEM, homework help, snack, what else do people have? PE, art, those things will still stay in your system. You will not have to recreate your activities. So you won't go up here and create an activity unless it's something brand new that does not fit in one of the sections, which it probably does. We want you to go ahead and create sessions to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. I think I am. You create me a summer. Oh, I'm supposed to go up here. Up here at the top, and this is new. I released this is where you're gonna toggle between the summer and the school year. So you see STEM, it's in both, because your activities they don't change, but your sessions, as in your schedule, what you do it will change. So if I'm going to create a STEM session, I'm going to go to add session. I'm going to say this is summer activity, and I'm going to call it something general. I don't want to recreate the wheel, so I'm going to call it summer STEAM because you might have five different activities that you do within STEAM, but if they are all lumped under STEAM, then that's fine. So you might use three different curriculums that are all STEAM, then that's all STEAM. They're going to go in the same block of time. If you do robotics, that could be characterized as STEAM. Um, I think I normally tell people to do meals when you talk about the summer instead of snacks, because then your meals activity you would have snack and breakfast and lunch or something like that under there. So make sure if it can fit under a character or under an activity, then put it under there instead of trying to recreate another activity because it just adds to the confusion for you. And we want to try to simplify easy reports as much as possible. It's called easy reports, and I know everybody's like, oh, not quite easy. The setup isn't great, but once you get it in there and you get the information, then it's pretty easy. So we're going to say that we're going to do this for elementary students. This is a face-to-face activity. Your staffing levels are going to be 1 to 8 to 20. I don't put max enrollment. I don't put location and room number, but you can. Those are optional. So I'm going to say that this happens weekly. I'm going to put my start date, last year, as June the 3rd, and it's not going to end until July the 12th because we're going to do it every day. And weekdays, Monday through, it's, yeah. If you do your field trips on Friday, then I would say I wouldn't select Friday, but that would be up to you. And it will be all day for that. And then whatever time you started. So let's say we do STEM at 10 o'clock and we end it at 11 o'clock. I'm gonna save that. And I'm going to add whatever staff member is attached. I'm going to add this person as the session start time, or if they start later, then I will add a date for it either way. And I'm going to say Nancy is going to do this activity. She has not started yet. Sorry, this is coming from another system. But that's how I would add the staff. Partners, I would do the same. Please make sure, and it's saying I don't have any stakeholders attached. When we enter your easy report, we do your setup stuff. Like we'll enter what is your address? Um, what else will we enter? How much was your grant for? All of those things,
Okay.
your objectives, goals, and objectives. But we don't enter your partners because your partners change throughout the time throughout the grant. So you are tasked with going in and entering your stakeholders and partners. So they gave you a little cheat sheet. So it's under stakeholders and partners, and I'm gonna show you that in a second. And then you can enter your volunteers right here. If you go ahead and link your staff, partners, and volunteers with your sessions, then that is what is going to calculate what is in the GEPRA report for your summer GEPRA. So be mindful of that. So and the calendar is just going to show you whatever days. So let's say you have a field trip or you know you have a speaker that's coming on Tuesday the 9th, because that's the last week. You can go ahead and check on that calendar box and remove that. So they will remove that date from that calendar for STEM because you know you have somebody that's coming in at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, the same time as STEM on the last week, or y'all have an activity plan. Whatever it is, that's the easiest way to go ahead and take it out of your calendar when you know ahead of time. So then I'm going to save and close, and that has created that session. So, Linda Williams, were you about to say something? Sorry. That's activities. We've already done holidays. We're going to go to enrollment because we've already registered our students. So I like to do, especially at the beginning, enroll by activity because it's going to show you every session that you have. It's going to show you the dates and every student that you have in the grades that is linked with the session will populate as available. So you would put these students, okay, they go with this time, so I'm gonna add them. Yes, I want to enroll them. And then 3 out of 3 participants enroll. So this is the best way for you to know in the beginning of your summer, all of your students are enrolled in the session. Same thing with the other one. And I don't have any students for that one, so that's okay. So you enroll your students and then you're to attendance. Um, oh, we need to go to the setup and options. So before we do attendance, you need to go in, well, before you did all of this, a lot of it, you would have to go in and do your options for setup. So you would go to setup and then options. And this is generally the way I would say to set it up. So program attendance, not activity attendance, because if you do activity attendance, it's going to ask you for attendance separately for every activity versus if you do program attendance, as long as the child was in the program during the time of that activity, automatically counts them for that. So let's say you have a child who is there from 8 to 3, but then you have PE from 3 to 4. Well, they're not going to get attendance for PE that day because the system is going to know, well, they left before PE started. So program attendance is the best way. If you get to this point when you get ready to do your options and you're like, what did Erica say? Send me an email or I will try, well, I'll try to remember to send y'all some screenshots, but I can't post it on the website. So the other thing is the live attendance. Please make sure that you do live attendance. As you know, with the GEPA measures, we're counting kids per hour. It's not the 30-day mark that we used to do years ago. So if you already go in and put in a live attendance and check that you want, go ahead, even if you do not have a scanner or whatever, go ahead and open these options up to yourself. So later on, if you decide, oh, okay, I do want to do scanner or student kiosk, or you can also capture electronic signature. And the new thing that she showed me today is that you can do QR codes for parents, which I really, really like. Um, because in the past, the kiosk, you would have to leave a tablet up or a computer up with the login screen or check-in, check-out screen where they could have the pen pad. Now you can have a QR code. You would pretty much, I guess, in the report section, once you enable this, you could go in and print a QR code for that specific day. You could have that QR code sitting on your checkout desk. They could scan the QR code with their phone. It would let them log in at that point or put in their PIN at that point, and then they can check out students. I think she said it also could enable them, if you have a parent who has forgotten their PIN, they can go use that QR code to also say, forgot my PIN and get a new PIN number too, which I liked because then you don't have to try to figure out how to do the legwork to get it for them. So go ahead and check all the live attendance options, regardless if you have decided to use them or not. So then when you do decide later on, well, I think I'd like to use that option or at least play around with it, then you have the option and you don't have to email or do a support ticket to have Easy Report turn it on for you. So enable all the live attendance things. Also, make sure that you enable auto checkout. Auto checkout is pretty much where when the students, 30 minutes after your program closes, so let's say your program closes at 6, and you have car riders. So your program starts a car rider line at 5:45, and at that point, all of y'all are outside and you're dismissing kids at that point. Your parents, they check out with the pen pad or they check out in some other manner, whatever you put in your operations part of your RFA. Um, and so automatically 30 minutes after your program closes, it would auto check out the students who were still checked in. That way you don't have to worry about the next day if like Easy Report thinks that your kids are still in your program and they've been there overnight. It automatically checks them out. So make sure that you enable that. Let me see what else we got. Block concurrent session enrollment for students. There's no way a student is split between PE and art class. So just make sure to click block concurrent sessions. Then you don't, and do the same thing for staff and for partners. They can't be in two places at one time. And it kind of, when it triggers and it gives you the error code, it'll remind you, oh, okay, no, I have something scheduled at that same time. So it's helpful. Anybody have any questions on that? Look through the box real quick. Okay. Okay. Stakeholders. So I want you to enter in staff to link with your sessions. And we're going to talk about why that's going to be important in a second. First, the staff and their information goes directly to your GEPR measure. So all of the information that's in that when you go in and approve the GEPR measure stuff or you look for your missing data, this is where it comes from. So if you have added, I don't have any drop you have added multiple staff and you didn't connect them with an activity session, then when it'll say, oh, well, you didn't have two people connected, this is why, because they're in your system as a staff, but they aren't linked to a session. So Nancy is in here. She is a staff person, and I can see that she is a part of the test site. Does she have any sessions? I can see that. Let me see. So I'm gonna enter in all her information, first name, last name, whether her education, because that does go to GEPRA, whether she's the school day, what type of staff is she? Um, Obviously, school day teacher is common. Administrators, these are literally linked to what they do during the school day. So even if you are an administrator in 21st century, if you are a school day teacher during the school day, then I want you to link yourself as a school day person. If they're a college student or a high school student, I had a lot of community members when I was a program director. Let's say they were a volunteer and then they eventually started working for me, or they had no link to the program aside from just they applied for the job. They would be community members if they don't work at the school in some capacity. You could also have that they have parent that they are a parent, which I think looks pretty good. Um, and or they have other specified, but if they meet one of these other ones, then let's try to make sure that we categorize them as that. And then the biggest thing is to try to make sure that you put their email address in so that when you get ready to dispatch surveys, it will send it to them. This is also a place where you can put their background check stuff. So have they been fingerprint scanned? And if you say yes, it will ask you for the screening date. Health screenings, if you require that, because all of this is optional, and drug screening, if you require that. You can put their start date. Are they funded by 21st Century? What method do you pay them? If you do put cash, you do not have to put a rate. That is optional, but just be mindful of that. And then their experience. And the other thing that I really like, emergency contacts, just in case something happens and you need to be able to contact their emergency contacts. You can put that in the system so you just have one place to look for it. So, well, that is required. So if you do put, then you have to put that rate. That's new. Okay, so you would do that same thing for staff and for partners. Remember, stakeholders and partners, you fill out all of that thing, all of those documents, then you would link them with a grant, and then you could link them with a session under program activities. And if I'm going to link with a session, I'm going to go to staff and providers session, and I think I couldn't link Nancy because of she was dropped or something. Oh no, it linked her. Cool. So then she has been linked with a session successfully. And you would do the same thing for partners and our volunteers. Let's see. And we talked about, lastly, let's talk about attendance. Again, I like live attendance. I know everybody else isn't, not everybody is a fan, but I'm okay with it. So this is what it's going to look like if you enable all of the options. So you can have a scan ID by staff, which would be if you had a scanner, a physical scanner to scan them, like a barcode. Launch parent pen would launch a kiosk. So it would log you out of the system and then launch that. And I'll show you that in a second. Launch student kiosk is going to do the same thing, but it's going to be the student's PIN number versus the parent PIN number. And then I'm not sure what a live attendance monitor is. I might have to dispatch that to see. But if I'm just going to go in as a regular staff person and do live attendance right then, because I have it dispatched where I'm in after school right now, I'm going to go to check in. This is me. I can do a signature. I agree. And then I'm going to look for every student. So let's say I have one outlier student who just showed up and it's 3:59. So I can check them in right now. So when I click that button, it automatically checks them in at 4 o'clock. And then it leaves me to my other kids. So then I can either go in and say, well, no, they came at a different time. So I can change that. Or I can do check all, and every student that I had under here, I can check them. I like the check all button, and then you can go in and uncheck the ones that you don't need because that's normally easier. Most of your kids will show up, and then you can change the time based on whatever time they are in, or you can, put it for now. And then you would check them in at the bottom and close. So then when you wanted to check out, you could do the same. So you click the checkout button. It's going to show you these kids that are already checked in. So it's going to ask you, well, do you want to check them out now? Or do you want to check them out? Let's say they left 10 minutes ago. So you want to put in a 10 minutes ago change time, either one. Or I can leave them, let's say they are not getting picked up until we close at 5:30, which is my close time. That's right here. Then I can let it auto check out and it would auto check them out at 5:30. And then the part that I know Linda Dean wants me to make sure that I share, at the end of the month, you want to certify your attendance. So you're going to go to attendance, review and submit. You're going to click on submit attendance. It's going to ask you to review your attendance. You're gonna look and it's gonna, if you have any zeros of one, then you want to look at those to see why you don't have any enrollment, because it could very well be that you have a gap for some reason, or it could be, well, all of your kids left before a certain time. But normally it's a sign of you checked them out a little early, or you didn't check them in until too late and you missed a session. So you need to change it in some way to try to make sure that you accurately reflect your attendance. We want to make sure that we're accurately reflecting the attendance time for our students. We don't just, it's a red flag to me, y'all, if I log in, that's the summer feeding coming in on me. If I log in and I see that every day you had the same amount of kids, I think that's weird, because nobody was sick, nobody, mama didn't feel like bringing them. Like it's got to be a reason that it shouldn't be every day that all of your students show up. And it's also a red flag to me if I look in here and every student is there exactly from 3 to 5:30, because you should be using live attendance to say, oh, well, okay, this child left at 5, this child left at 4, this child left at 4:15, whatever the times be. That's what live attendance is for. And so we want to figure out how to make live attendance as easy as possible for y'all so that you don't feel like live attendance is a burden. So after you review all of your attendance, make sure that you have everything in, then you would go in and you would certify attendance, and then you could submit. It's not gonna let me submit because I'm still within this month, but you get what I'm saying. And then your month is closed and you won't get an email from Linda, Linda Dean 15 days after the next month. Attendance has to be in by the 15th day of the next month. And so then she normally, after that day is when it triggers an email for her to send you and say, hey, don't forget to put your attendance in. So I think that's it. Anybody has questions, this is a great time to ask. And again, if you have, if you get to the setup point for Easy Report and you're like, well, I looked at that video and I don't really remember what Erica said about that and I hadn't figured it out, just send me an email or call me and we can schedule a time to walk through your schedule. Either me or one of the Lindas, we are happy to do it. That is why we're here. We would rather it be accurate on the front end than trying to fix it on the back end. Anybody got any questions? Okay, I have a message in the chat box says, hi, I was late joining. Did you all release the list of schools receiving the grant for cohort 26? No, it has not been released. I will send an email from Amanda when it is released. How do we remove parents from a session? I have a site that says parents are enrolled in our activities every day. Send me an email because that sounds like something specific that I need to look at to give you more accurate. It sounds like it was coded for adults and it maybe shouldn't have been. So you're probably going to have to go into enroll and unenroll the people, but call me or send me an email. We'll work on it. Hi, Erica. I'm still operating under the old director's login. Yes, send me an email with your name, telephone number, and email address, and I can get you added to the system. Yes. How can we differentiate from advisory board members and partners? So, good question. An advisory board member, depending on what their task is, they might just come in and have a meeting, but they also might be pretty helpful people. They could probably be coded as volunteers. I wouldn't necessarily code them as a partner unless they are partners, I would say, as a group, or they're from an organization where they come in and they represent their organization and either do an activity or they help with a specific task. Hope that makes sense. When will we get the 25-26 Easy Report page? Will we need to pay the subscription fee? Of course, 16. Cohort 16, no. So you should be done. You have paid for the fiscal year. So we won't get new bills until October, I believe. So There's not another subscription fee. The 25-26 Easy Report should, they told me today, the beginning of June, but I'm always going to push for y'all to get it by the end of May so that you can have the Easy Report access when your summer camps start. Because I know some of us start either right at the end of May or I've started right after Memorial Day, so I get it. Hi, Erica, I can't locate the registration tab. You have to give me more information. It's not on this side or it's not in the center. If it's not in the center, you can customize your home to add students or adults, um, unless your access is different. Send me an email, Iris, with more information. Is the expansion grant application out yet? The one for STEAM and our additional pay for employees? It is not to my knowledge, but Amanda, if you're available, if you have more information on that.
So I'm actually working on that right now. I'm hoping to have it routed this week. But of course, it does have to go through the whole process of people reading it and checking for typos and that sort of thing. Because it's so late in the year, I did have to make some adjustments. And because the funds have to be spent by September 30th, I did make some adjustments to what we are offering. It's now down to 3 options. Hold on, let me tell you exactly what they are. And I'll give you the reasoning behind that. Sorry, I had to pull it up just a second ago. Okay, so the first option, as you asked, is to support the educator workforce. And so that could be supporting in terms of adding staff, increasing staff salaries, or providing professional development for staff. But just keep in mind that the funds do have to be spent by September 30th. So just be mindful of that and understand that if you increase staff salaries, you'll only be able to use these funds to do that through September 30th. And so just be mindful of that. Sometimes if you increase somebody's salary up substantially, but then you're not able to offer that increased salary the next year, you may lose people for that reason. So just be careful about that. But because I promised I would offer it, I do want to still continue to offer that. If you can figure out a way to make that work, then you're more than welcome to. But I could definitely see those funds being used for professional development that you could offer during the summer. Send some teachers to some of the in-state or out-of-state conferences, that sort of thing. You're welcome to use that option for that. The second option for funding is to support innovative enrichment programs. This one, I'm putting in the application that is available to all cohort 17 applicants and any cohort 16 applicant that has been given a cohort 26 grant. Of course, I have to get this approved. Typically, we don't let people purchase big things in their final year of the grant, but if I'm hoping that you guys will find out who has gotten the cohort 26 grant sometime within the next week or two. And so if you know you're getting that grant and you know you're going to be continuing your program next year, I looked all through the guidance. I couldn't find anywhere that said, that was actually a federal rule, that we couldn't allow you to purchase things your last year. So I feel like that's going to be okay. But of course, I have to get that approved. But that is the plan for option 2. And so this would be any kind of innovative enrichment program that would encourage student participation to get them to come to your program. So, anything fun that your students would be interested, that they'll come to your after school or your summer program just so they can participate in that fun activity. That is basically what this is for. And then option 3 would be funds to support summer programming. And so that could be either to expand on the summer program that you already offer, or to do summer programming this year when you typically don't do it at your site. That's one of the reasons why I'm trying to get it out as fast as possible. I was hoping to already have had it done, but just, it's just, I I just can't seem to get caught up with all the different things. But hopefully we can get it routed this week, and then it can be done quickly. We will have a pretty quick turnaround time so that you would have access to those funds as soon as possible, especially for those of you who want to do summer programming that don't typically do it. So yeah, we'll try to get those out as fast as we can, and keep you guys updated on when that is going to be released. And I will say this, the other thing I had talked about adding was transportation. The reason why I didn't do it is you could include that in your expansion of summer programming, and I really feel like at this point, it's probably too late to give you transportation funds when there's only like a month left in the school year, and then there's a couple of months in, the new year that you would be able to use it for. So I did cut that one out, but if you feel, send me a private email if you feel highly, if you feel very strongly that you could use those funds for something other than summer programming just through September 30th. I may consider putting it back in. It was just, I just didn't really see how that would work. So I took that one out, knowing that, if you needed transportation for summer programming, you could just add it to the expansion of your summer programming option. So keep that in mind. All right, sorry.
Amanda, Libby asked, can it be like a retention bonus for those who have been with the program and stayed to September 30th?
That's a really good
It's a good
question. Let me
idea.
look into the guidance on that, and just see if that's something allowable. So let me check back and get with you on that one. If it is something that could be offered, I'll make sure I put that in the wording. And the thing is, again, I'm hoping to finish it today before I leave, and then get it routed tomorrow. But of course, or get it at least start being read by the people that have to read it tomorrow. But yeah, let me look into the guidance and see if retention bonuses are an allowable activity with 21st Century, before I commit to any of that.
All right, if we don't have any more questions, it's 4:14, so we held y'all a little bit long wait. No more questions. The school district signed up to provide food, breakfast, and lunch during summer program, but now says they cannot do it on Fridays when they don't have their literacy at camp, even though we are taking those same kiddos on field trips. Are you asking? They claim they cannot allow, they can't. I'm gonna unmute you. Listen.
Okay. Um, we have one of our three school districts. They did this last year at the last minute, and I went out and got a community partner to donate money to cover it, and we just handled it. But they're doing it again this year and saying that, so they have literacy camp Monday through Thursday. We have our camp Monday through Friday, and the Literacy Act kids that want to, sign up with ours. We do a blended thing, and they come after their Literacy Act academic part, and we do an academic part in the morning. They come to our STEM, swim lessons, all that. And then on Fridays are when we do our extended learning field trips. And their CMP director, who's fairly new the last few years, says that she's not allowed to provide lunches because it's not their program. And I keep saying, but it is your program, it's your students. We're just facilitating it. And our other two districts do it. They do through CMP, they do breakfast and lunch, do the sack lunches for us for field trips. So I'm just wondering why one group says it's against the rules to do that, they're not allowed, and how we can, is there a directive we can give them? It's part of the RFA, and so I'll have to go out and find several $1,000s again because we can't use 21st century money to pay for the food.
So question, are you wanting them to provide like packed lunches for you to take on these field trips. Is that what you're saying? Or is it every Friday you go on a field trip, or will it be sometimes they'll provide food during the day, at your site, and then sometimes it would be maybe packing up a lunch for you to take with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Okay. I was muted.
Okay.
Normally they do like on field trip Fridays, they do a little breakfast, continental breakfast when they first get there, and they already have sack lunches, prepared, and we take them in the cooler and everything. But last year and this year, this one school district says they can't, do it through CMP. And our other two school districts do it through CMP. They have it. And
Yeah.
if they have issues, like one of them had issues with having employees there on Friday, well, they just prep it Thursday before they leave and have it in the cooler for us, and in the cafeteria part when we go in and get it. And so I don't I don't know. We've just had issues with one school district always wanting to change what's in the RFA and what they agreed to, and I'm just wondering what options we have.
Yeah. Okay. So several different things I can think of that might need to be discussed. One thing, I am going to the CMP conference on, I think it's May 1st and 2nd, to talk to CMP directors about serving their 21st century sites and encourage them to do that. So hopefully that will help. But I'm not sure. That is definitely not correct as far as the CMP director telling you they're not allowed to serve a 21st century program, because they definitely are. What it could potentially be is that there's an MOU that they have created with the school district to serve Monday through Thursday, and there's not an MOU that states that they need to serve schools on Fridays. So if that's
That's
the
yeah,
case,
that's not the case.
that's not the case. Okay.
Mm-mm.
So that would be a potential thing. Now, what I do know, just because my husband works for CMP and I've talked to him about it and he's heard me rant and rave and discuss things, is that you can't make the CMP serve anybody during the summer, especially if they have good reasoning and like can't find staff to work on Fridays or something to that effect. We can, like, when I go and speak to at the CMP conference, I have to encourage and push, and that's something that I have a hard time with. I got to figure out a way to nicely ask, for them to serve you guys without, because I can't force them to do it. I can't make them do it. So, um,
Right. I just
so
wish they would, if they're going to put that kind of thing in the RFA, when you first write the grant and they make that agreement and then they back off, and she truly thinks that she's not allowed to serve, like if it's not a serving site, well, there's another school 8 miles down the road. I'm happy to go pick them up there and take them to the other school, because if it's open serving and everybody can come in the community. I just don't know what the difference is. And
yeah,
the other school districts, they say, oh, you are allowed to do that. You can count that in your numbers. Those are your students. So,
yeah, you can.
yeah, so she keeps saying she's not allowed to because it's not hers. I'm like, they are your students. We're just facilitating this 21st century program here for y'all. But,
Right.
so I just think she's confused about
Sounds
that.
like it.
Yeah. Is there somebody that can talk with her to let her know they are allowed to do it? Because so
Yeah,
maybe she'll
yeah.
change her
Just
mind.
Libby, just send me an email separately, because this is probably not the time to go into
Okay.
all the details, but send me
Yeah,
something and maybe I can get my husband to, maybe we can all set up a meeting to meet together to discuss it.
that'd be
Um,
great. Thank you.
and see if if it's really that they don't think they're allowed, or if there's some other, reasoning behind why they're not wanting to do it on a Friday. Um, but yeah, if it's really truly they just don't think they're allowed to, then yeah, that one should be easy to fix, because I know that they are. Now, do they have the money to do it? That might be an issue. Do they have the staffing to do it? That might be an issue. You know, those are all issues that my husband has mentioned to me that could be a problem that would keep a CMP program from wanting to serve 21st century, because sometimes they're in the hole. So if there's just all kinds of different, circumstances that could contribute to them not wanting to serve. But we could definitely have the conversation, and if it's just a matter of her thinking that she can't, then we can definitely try to get that resolved for sure. But yeah, just send me an
Awesome.
email and we'll get something set up.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. If nobody else has questions, then I'll send out this recording on Friday. And as always, if y'all have questions or anything, need any type of assistance, let us know. We're here to help. Y'all have a good one.